how many people can say they lived out their dream? Most locker rooms I've been at, they would have folded and it would have been over.
Yeah.
But having the leaders in that locker room, being so confident in themselves, kind of boost the confidence in the whole team. Be like, hey, Tom was like going around, hey, we got this. Don't worry about it. We got this. And that just gave everyone the courage and the confidence to be like, yeah, this game's not over. We got a second half to go. And we won. So every single day I wake up about 5 o'clock, but do my whole workout routine. But then 6:30, I get on the phone and I role play with other people who cold call and door knock too. So I get that repetition, just like in football, just like in practice, that, I'm getting my skills better. I'm crafting, my skills to get better. So when I do get in that situation of objections, I know exactly what to say and how to handle them. Crazy how the positive mindset, if you just have a positive mindset, it takes you a long way. And manifesting things that if you believe in yourself and you say it to yourself every single day that, I'm gonna make $500,000 next year, it's most likely gonna happen, because you have that attitude and that drive to get you to there.
You are now tuned in to the best roofing podcast in the world, the Roof Trollz.
Roof Trollz.
Yeah.
Super exciting episode because like we said, we touch bases everywhere. It's not just roofing. So I got Mike here, my host with me, Michael Armalis, and then we got an awesome guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Michael Floyd, retired NFL player, played 8 years. Now I'm in the real estate industry.
That was a modest introduction. Super Bowl champion, former Notre Dame alum.
Yeah, we'll forget the NFL stuff. We already talked about that. Let's talk about Notre Dame. Look, we're season ticket holders Notre Dame. I've been Notre Dame family since I was a kid. I mean, I didn't get to go there. I wasn't smart enough, but I've been Notre Dame since I was a little kid, so I'm going to be a big fanboy on this one. At least about the Notre Dame part. We could talk about Tom Brady. We could, whatever. And we're going to talk about your real estate career because that's booming right now. See all your shorts online. So it's going to be exciting time here for us to talk about that. So want to tell us a little bit about Notre Dame?
Well,
play like a champion today?
Well, first of all, I didn't get in there for academics. I'm not saying I'm not intelligent, but I didn't get in there for, my academics. But it's a great school. I loved it. Graduated with a sociology degree. I was going to go into business, but then I saw the second semester, everyone was in there in suits in my calc class, and I'm like, nah, this is not for me. But I always knew, I always knew I wanted to be in something that involved people all the time. I couldn't sit in a cubicle all the time. And, now after I got done working, real estate is really, on your feet at all times. So I enjoy myself.
Yeah.
I heard a cool side story real quick about how you ended up at Notre Dame. And I thought it was really awesome. Ty shared it with us about how you wanted to play somewhere else. You like explain your thought process behind that. Like, why did you pick Notre Dame?
So my coach, Andy Bischoff, at the time, he was the assistant head coach. He sat me down. He goes, pick the top 20 schools you want me to send your film to. And Notre Dame was one of them, other schools, but also USC. And USC at the time was like Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, they're the schools.
Lindo White, it was a squad. Michael Williams.
I brought there, I sent my tape there and they didn't give me a scholarship. Pete Carroll said, you got to come and do a one-day camp. And I said, screw you. If I'm not good enough to get it off my tape, then I don't want to go there. So I chose Notre Dame to play them every single year. We beat them for the first time in 10 years on my 21st birthday in my junior year. So the ride back to South Bend was a good one.
Yeah. That's amazing.
I love stories like that though, because that's the dog in you, man. That's you just stick it to them. Like, oh, okay, well, I'll just go play here, so you could see me twice a year.
Oh yeah.
Or once a year and see what you missed out on.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
That's amazing.
And you're a Minnesota native. Now, we're out in the lobby. Dan Walrack was telling us that you might have went to Wisconsin, the Badgers. There was a story behind that, or is that just a joke he wanted me to ask you about?
No, he was just talking about how I brought my mom. We took a visit with the same assistant head coach. He brought us to Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan. We just did a road trip to check out the schools, and then we ended at Notre Dame. But my mom saw, how they kind of party at Wisconsin. And she was like, yeah, it's a good time here, but, you're not gonna come here. It's just too much.
Oh,
too
your
many
mom
distractions.
shut that down. Huh?
Shut it down.
How far did you live from Madison at that time?
I mean, I still live here in the cities, but about 4 hours.
4 hours?
Yeah.
I mean, she could have came and whooped you, if she would have heard rumors about you partying or something. So she was a lot closer than South Bend.
Yeah, she gave me whoopings too, and I had my fair share at Notre Dame too. So she came there and put me in line.
That's good though, man. That's a mom that cares. Genuinely, you worked really hard to get to that level, and then she's like, "Yeah, you're not gonna fuck it off while you're there."
No, not at all.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So. I mean, there's so much stuff to touch base on with the NFL. Like, what was that experience like, man? I mean, can you even put that into words, like being drafted? Like, can you even? I mean, how does that feel?
I mean, since third grade, my dad, he was always saying, Michael, you can play in the NFL. And at that age, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, okay, Dad, but I'm just gonna go out here and play my game. And then we got to high school, and he's saying, you can get a scholarship. My mom was on the other hand, like, I don't care about football. I just want you to get a good education. But if it wasn't for football, there's no way I would be able to even afford to get to, a school like Notre Dame. So, by the grace of God, I got a scholarship. And then that took that all away. And, I'm just so fortunate to, how many people can say they lived out their dream.
I've met a couple NFL players, but I've met no Super Bowl champions. I think you're the first one. But just that draft day feeling, man. Like, cause I watch the videos of people getting drafted, and it makes my heart full. Like, I'm watching them, celebrate with their families, the hug they give and stuff like that. I get goosebumps thinking about that, and I didn't even play in the NFL. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, so you have a choice either to stay home with family or go to Radio City in New York at the time. But when I was there, I brought my mom and dad, my trainer from high school, and my best friend. And, you never know when you're going to get drafted. So, I kept my coat on because I was sweating like hell underneath. Like, I had sweat all the way down to my belt line because you just never know. It's so nerve-wracking. But then Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald's from here, and he texted me and said, if you're there at the 13th pick, we're going to pick you. So that kind of lit off some nerves down, but you still never know.
Yeah.
But when they picked me, I was, just super excited and glad that,
And what number were you?
13th pick.
13th pick.
2012 draft.
Who were the 12 before you?
Ooh.
I know you know it. There's no way you
Well, was there anyone drafted before you were like, this guy before me?
Well, you don't want to air out somebody like that.
No.
Or was there anyone? Don't say any names then. Yeah.
I honestly can't even remember his name. He went to Jacksonville at 5 as another wide receiver, but that was the only one. But Andrew Luck was in my draft class.
Was it Justin Blackman?
Justin Blackman, there you go.
Man.
He was number 5 to Jacksonville, so that's the only guy.
Okay.
But then it was me.
Right on.
You were the second receiver taken.
Yeah.
I did see the videos, like sometimes some of the draft picks, they're like, I was drafted number 17, and I should have been drafted 1. They're like, all right, well, who drafted before you? And they just, number 1 was number 2, number 3. They keep that list in their head, just like savages.
Oh,
Like,
Randy Moss
them.
was the big one. He was like, every time he played someone who didn't draft him, because what was he, 18 or 23?
Yeah, he can spit them off in like 2 seconds.
And he knows
too.
every team that skipped him, every team that he did a workout for, and they didn't draft him, and he held it against them.
Yeah, I don't know if it's beneficial either. Depend like how my career would have went if I was like the main guy in Jacksonville like Justin Blackman was, or do you have a mentor like Larry Fitzgerald as a rookie coming in? Like, which one's better?
What a badass mentor too.
Yeah, but I'm like, I think the mentor side is good because you're a rookie. You don't know what the hell is going on, at that level. But to have someone who's been there, 10 plus years already, you kind of follow and implement exactly what he's doing. So I kind of like that aspect as me going there, following someone like that. Because Jacksonville, I think at the time, they didn't really have any veteran wide receivers in their organization. So
nice.
Yeah.
And then so you ended up after your career, you towards the tail end of it, you end up in New England, right?
Yep, I went up in New England, played there for half the year, and was fortunate enough to win a Super Bowl there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And I remember that Super Bowl. I was at a Harrah's casino watching the game, and I had bet the parlay. I had taken the Falcons and the over. And when Atlanta was up 28-3, I'm like, all right, I need New England to start scoring some points over here so I can hit this parlay. And as soon as it got to 16 points, I'm like, fuck, they're going to pull this game out. Like, I knew it. Like, I'm like, it's Tom Brady. They're only down 16. That's 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions. I'm like, they're going to win this thing. So then you go to overtime, tied. I swear to God, James White was down before the goal line, so you could have just kicked a field goal and won. But so I would have won my parlay. But no, I mean, that was one of the greatest comebacks to ever watch in football. I mean, that was, even though I lost that bet, and it was a pretty substantial bet, it was a cool thing to watch that happen. And I'm sure it was even cooler on the sidelines.
I think the coolest part was that, like, I've never been in that locker room that was just so chill at being behind 28-3. Like, most locker rooms I've been at, they would have folded. And it would have been over.
Yeah.
But, you know, having the leaders in that locker room, you know, being so confident in themselves to, you know, kind of boost the confidence in the whole team. Be like, hey, Tom was like going around, hey, we got this. Don't worry about it. We got this. And that just gave everyone the courage and the confidence to be like, yeah, this game's not over. We got a second half to go. And, we won.
Yeah. So is he as awesome to play with as he seems like in like his post-career like videos and everything now? His speeches, he's got a good one with Patrick Bet-David where he talks about, like, it's like a 9-minute speech where it kind of gives you goosebumps about him and his whole life going up. And is he as awesome as he sounds like?
He's a competitor, and he wants to win. And that's the kind of guys who you want to be around. For me, watching clips of him and watching clips of Kobe Bryant, them are guys who just make you want to go out and work out and be the best at whatever you do. Just because, like, they're at an age where, like, you know, I'm 22 years old. You know, Brady's, I don't know, 36 at the time. And he's still going out there like he's 21 years old. I'm like, oh, that motivates me, you know, to even work even harder.
Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. I truly believe that his basketball career is one of the best ever. His post-career with the way he was trending to be a motivational speaker, I think he would have blown away his basketball career. And just think of how awesome he was at basketball. I mean, he's right there behind Michael Jordan, and he was going to take it even to another level, I think. Like, he was just trajectory is just like, it was insane how awesome. Like, and if he could touch people like that, I mean, it's a shame. We lost a lot in our civilization by losing Kobe Bryant. I truly believe that.
Yeah, I honestly always wake up every morning and watch motivational reels and stuff like that, and a lot come across social media of Kobe Bryant, and it just tells, you know, I don't want to be, you know, around, you know, weak people or weak-minded people. Like, that's dumb. Like, put me around people that are, you know, that inspire me and still want the same kind of goals as me. That's who I want to be around.
Yeah, I like the one quote he has. Where he says, why won't you pass me the ball? He's like, because I see you in practice every day. I see how you are. There's no way I'm passing you the ball. Like, he's just a gift.
What's the work-life balance like with, like, raising a family? Did you have your kids during your NFL career or post-NFL career? Like, when did all that happen?
I had them at the tail end of my career.
So what is that like being an NFL player with the rigorous schedule you guys are on, and then, you know, the family, man? Because, like, you always want to spend time with your kids and stuff, and I'm sure that's, like, brutal. So, like, how did you find a balance between the two of them?
So I met my wife in 2018. I was with Washington, and you know, they were in Minnesota. They had to fly out to Washington every single weekend, but that was actually pretty good that I found her at that time. I found her because it's totally different, the lifestyles of people. Like, you know, for example, Larry Fitzgerald, he has a few kids, you know, so, you know, unless he's golfing, he's with his kids. Me at 22 years old, you know, no kids and single. So, you know, I can do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. So, like, when people say they don't have, you know, kind of a life, and I understand that now, because if I was still playing, like, I'm not doing nothing after work. I'm going with my kids, you know. So you can go and play video games or whatever, but I'm down, you know, on the floor with Legos and you know, playing with Donkey Kong, you know, race cars and stuff like that. So it's just different. But it makes people also, when you come in the league with kids, like, you know, your mindset's different because, like, people are trying to take food off your table, you know. So you have a lot to give, knowing that, you know, you have people you got to provide for at home. So.
That's awesome, man. So then how did you get into where you're at now? Like, so I don't know if everybody listening right now or watching knows exactly what you do. So let's dive into that. So how did you go from the NFL career to where you're transitioning to now? Which, by the way, again, I watched some of your videos, man. Some of your shit is awesome. Like the fact that you're putting yourself in front of the camera and talking more and getting out there and stuff like that. Yeah. It's really cool, man. It really is. So like, how did you get into that? And what are you doing?
So after I retired, I took 3 years off because honestly, that was my first time not doing anything since I was maybe in third grade. So I played pickup basketball, and these guys with a whole bunch of investors and realtors, and they're like, Michael, you should get into investing, or at least be a real estate agent. And I'm like, I don't really know. But then after thinking about it, I'm like, I like people. I like to meet new people also. So like, I'm gonna get my license and see where this goes. So this is my second year being a real estate agent, and I also said it's just another way of helping people. So I cold call and door knock for a living, and it's been working. So my first year, I think I only did $8,000 worth. Didn't know a damn thing about real estate, But then my second year, I $180,000, and closed 25 plus deals. So the same type of work ethic I had in football, I'm just transitioning it to real estate, and I enjoy it.
So you're cold knocking?
Yes.
Bro, that's so awesome. So you literally like knocking on people's doors and they're opening the door to you?
Yes.
That's crazy. Do you get recognized a lot or no?
I had a cold call before that I called him. I said, hey, I'm Michael Floyd. I'm a local real estate agent. And he goes, yeah, I'm not selling anymore, but hold on. What's your name again? And I said, Michael Floyd. He goes, oh, man, I played with you, and I played at Air Force. I know who you are. I said, oh, and then I, got the opportunity to sell his house. Just off of that.
That's awesome, yeah.
There is some recognition into it, and I really like door knocking because then, they get that one-on-one. And I usually say if I get a listing appointment, 8 out of 10 times I'm going to come down with that listing because they genuinely see the person who you are. And I come in there not to try to make some money. That's a bonus, the commission. But How can I help? And that's how I look at it every single time.
Yeah, so in our industry, we do door knocking, but it's like for storm restoration, roofing and siding and stuff like that. But it's the same approach. We're here to provide a solution for the homeowner more than we are to break money. Like you said, it's a bonus that I'm going to get paid off this, and that's great. But these people their homes are destroyed. Like we need to put this back together. We need to fix this for them. This is an actual problem that they're having. So like, I've sold a couple houses, not me personally, but I'm saying as a homeowner, and I know how stressful that whole process is. So you guys, you streamlining that process for a homeowner, making it a lot easier, and communication, that's awesome, man. And what's the name of where you at and all that?
I'm with eXp Realty, and so basically what I do is I call cancels and expireds. So basically, if you were selling your house and an agent who you chose the first time couldn't get it done, I give you a call, I knock on your door, and I just kind of promote myself. And I say, hey, I saw your home was on the market, and I was just curious, if and when you plan on hiring the right agent like myself to actually get your home sold. That's one of the lines that I use.
Oh, yeah, right.
But I practice every single day what to say and how to say it. So any objection that someone brings to me, I already know. So every single day I wake up about 5 o'clock, but do my whole workout routine. But then 6:30, I get on the phone and I role play with other people who cold call and door knock too. So I get that repetition, just like in football, just like in practice, that, I'm getting my skills better. I'm crafting, my skills to get better. So when I do get in that situation of objections, I know exactly what to say and how to handle them.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then as door knockers here, it's like we embrace the objections now. It got to the point where like in the beginning, you're just like, you don't really want to deal with that.
Oh, yeah.
But then later on now it's like I almost want to dumb my pitch down so I can get a couple objections,
Yeah.
Like I wanted to keep the conversation going because it's just so it's like a game, eventually it's like you get that like we were talking before we got down here, like you get that competitive nature, and then you harness a much higher competitive nature, obviously, given your background. But you got to find a way to put that back in your life. And the avenue you're going down, I think, is really good because that's an aggressive industry. Realty that's tough.
Yeah, cold calling, I like it. I like it just because, like you said, it keeps me competitive. And, there's a few other people or a handful of people that are cold calling too. But like, how are you going to get the listing appointment? You got to sharpen your skills. So that's why I do it every single day, to making sure that there's other people calling. But if I'm the fourth caller, how am I going to get that listing? I got to be good at what I'm saying, and at the listing appointment too. So it's nothing different, besides getting hit, having concussion maybe.
Yeah.
But
well, thank God you ain't got to deal with that anymore.
Yeah, it's nothing different than playing football. Just going out and practicing every single day and getting better every single day. And there's always something to learn too.
Yeah, yeah.
Elijah, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but door knocking is how we met Mike through Ty, because that's how you guys started talking, working out and talking about door knocking. He said you guys were at the gym for several months, and I'm sure you'll be able to tell the story better than I can, but he said you guys were at the gym together, just sitting there, never really talked, and someone brought up about door knocking. I don't know if you want to tell the full story on that, or maybe he remembers and you're like, this is just some guy who's talking crazy or something. But but he said that's how you guys first really hit it off, is about talking about door knocking.
Yeah, so at Lifetime, I usually go there about 5 a.m. every single day. And then I met Ty in the sauna, and we were just talking. And door knocking came up, and he was like, oh, that's how I started. And I go, yeah, I'm starting, real estate now, and that's what I do. I door knock and I cold call people. And we just got to talking more, became friends. And sure enough, I sold his place here in Minnesota. He was first about to rent up here to go back and forth from Florida and here. And he came up to me and he goes, hey, Mike, me and my wife are talking. And, we're thinking about just selling our place here. And I'm like, great. I would love to do it. And, sold it in, I think, 15 days or less.
Nice.
So
nice.
It was good. But simple things like that, and I try to tell people all the time, like, pick a spot where you go to all the time at the same time, and for real estate, and you're going to meet these people. And you don't even have to talk about work, but get to genuinely meet people and see who they are as a person. And work might come up, and at that time, maybe a month later, maybe a year later, that person.
And that's a hell of a guy to run into too, because full disclosure, I mean, Ty is a hell of a mind to pick. Like, he really is. That guy is dialed in, analytic wise, better than the majority of people I know that do door knocking. That guy is like psychological wise, like you could learn a lot from him. Like, anybody who's doing door knocking can learn a lot from him.
Oh yeah, and I love learning from older people who's been there and done that, because it's not just about work, but about, he has older kids. I have younger kids, so how's the work-life balance between being a father and working so hard and want to provide for your family. So it's not always just about work, but it's also about how you are as a man and how you can come, and be a better father too.
Yeah.
So that's what I enjoy. All the conversations are great with Ty, and I'm glad I ran into him.
Yeah, and that's what life is about too. You just hit it right on the head, man. Just becoming a better person, a better human, a better father, a better example for our children. 100%. I have a little girl at home. So like, yeah, it's just trying to do better for them every day. And then that's what I'm saying. The work-life balance, it's so difficult sometimes, because as men, we want to provide, we want to be the main provider. And we just have like this energy inside of us that we want to give to everybody so we can get back for our families. But then sometimes we find ourselves possibly giving too much to people and not enough to our families. So it's hard to dial that in. It's really difficult. Does your wife do anything like with you, or?
She takes care of the house. So I think that's 100%. The hardest job.
Oh yeah.
Out of anything. When I retired from football, I was like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad. And I lasted 4 days. I was like, oh, hell no, I can't do this. Yeah. This is much. And I salute my wife, and I appreciate her for everything that she does, because I couldn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's tough to do.
Oh, I mean, I remember when we had our first son and staying home for like 2 days, like not being at work, like just being 2 days, like say paternity leave or whatever, even though it was my company, I'm like, I can't do this, got to go by. Like, even though like it's your kid, but it's just that thing in men. I think we just have that inherent instinct that we want to just go out there and get after it. Like, so it's, I could never be a stay-at-home dad, and that's probably the same for both of you guys too, I would assume.
Well, I was the only income for about 7 years with Amanda. It was just just my income. And then after 7 years, you know, our daughter started going to school and stuff. So then it became like, hey, I need some adult interaction time is what she was telling me. And I'm like, I get it. And she's like, no, you don't. She's like, you're at work, you're talking to people. Like, I'm going stir crazy in here. I can't do this. So then she started working in our industry too, not for my company, but she works with a company that's affiliated with us. But so she's been like shipping in and stuff like that. Now we're like working together in the same industry, and it's kind of cool how it panned out. But that's why I was wondering, like, does she help you with any of your realty stuff or any of that stuff?
In the beginning, when I start role playing, instead of on the phone, she would role play with me.
Okay.
And she just sees things differently than I do, especially like, you know, if I have a buyer's agent, you know, she sees, you know, certain things that are, you know, in a house that not a lot of people think. I think she's super gifted that way. The way she did our house, I mean, she just has a knack for it. And I think eventually she might want to get into it to help me out. And then we can work together because, you know, when people see husband and wife working together, they see trust. Mm-hmm. You know, you guys trust each other. Why can't I trust you as my realtor? You know, so I think eventually down the road, she really wants to get in to be a defense attorney now, a lawyer, and help. They have a organization here called the Great Innocence Project. So they get people who are wrongfully committed out of prison. So she volunteered for that for the past 2 or 3 years, and she found, you know, what she wants to do, and that's helping people out in that way also.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. That's actually a really good program. Have they been able to free anybody?
So his name was Marvin Hayes. He was wrongfully committed for a murder in North Minneapolis, and on his 36th birthday, he spent 20 years in there. And on his 36th birthday, he finally got out. So we had him and his family over for Christmas, his first Christmas out of prison. And my wife still keeps in contact with him all the time. He was actually just home at my house 2 days ago. But he's still figuring out how to move in life, you know, because it's tough.
So wait, you're saying he was in prison from 20 years, from 16 to 36.
16 to 36.
And he was wrongfully accused. And he lost 20 years of his life. Man, that's
20 years.
Horrific. Like, that's terrible. Like,
so now he's finally trying to get back into the groove of, you know, being out in society.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
It's like a claw machine just picked him up and dropped him in a new planet. The technology advances in 20 years, society, like, oh, my God, I don't even... Yeah, I don't even know what he would even start. That's unbelievable. That's terrible, actually, that even happened.
And how long has he been out for now?
A year. I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, got out last year. So
yeah, no, man, that's amazing. Your wife, and your wife's already an attorney then?
No, she's going back to. So when she started, we had a child, and she ended up, you know, not working. Okay. But now she wants to get back into it because she's just super. You know, she wants to get back into that and help people out as much as possible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where do you see like the whole realty thing? Like, is this an avenue that like you're gonna rock it out and try to build up something? Like, where do you see yourself in like a 5-year plan on realty? Like, are you gonna go all in on this?
I'm going all in, and usually, I mean, that's just my mindset. You know, just going all in. When I told my wife I want to do real estate, she's like, "Okay, but what do you?" Yeah, I'm like, "Look, I'm going all in." And that's what I'm doing now. And I think in 5 years or so, I'll have my own team, and it'll be basically based off of cold calling and door knocking. Like, if you don't have it in you, I'm going to give you the tools to work it. But if you can't do it, this probably isn't the team for you, because that's how you create business.
Yeah, a winning team. Yeah, winning team, winning culture. That's awesome, man. So what is your... Outside of work, we could talk a little bit more about football and stuff, because we're fans of it. So, out of everything you experienced, what would you say what's your biggest your memory, like the one you're just like, man, this was like just a great time. Like, you just it can't really compare to anything else. It doesn't even have to be like the Super Bowl or anything like that. I'm just like what's your, like you just had a great time doing it.
Doesn't have to involve football.
Oh, no, it doesn't have to. Okay. No, absolutely not, man.
I think one of the best times, and we do this every year, is actually I was never blessed to go, out of the country when I was younger. So now that, I can we go every single year to somewhere different, a different country. So 2 years ago, we went to Italy. Last year, we went to Portugal. This summer, we're going to Spain. and then wintertime, I think we're going to Kenya. But to give my kids that experience of different cultures, different people, and see how they interact with them. And, you know, it's just a cool thing for me to be in the position that I am, to be able to give that to my kids, because not a lot of people can do that, you know? So that's one of my favorite things I do, is just being able to have a job or being able to be successful enough to be there for my kids. I'm not missing a recital, a conference, anything for my kids, practice. I'm always there, so they never can go back and be like, you know, my dad wasn't there. So.
And that's the true legacy, man. You know, all the accomplishments that you did on the field, off the field, at the end of the day, your kids are going to remember you for who you were, you know, like who you actually were, like the guy who, you know, that my dad took me, you know, out places. He saw things. My dad spent time with me. My dad, you know, did all this stuff. When we leave, dude, we can't bring anything with us, you know, like none of this shit comes with us. So having our families there and having that bond with them, and them, you know, living, because we're going to live through them eventually. You're going to be gone. And the only time that your name is going to be, you know, put out there, sadly, is going to be from people who were really close to you and knew you the best. So like you want your children to speak highly of you and go out there and, you know, and make them better people too. Because like you said, bringing them and showing them different cultures puts a different perspective in their mind than we had growing up, or you had growing up. And then they become better people that way. And that's 100%. An amazing thing as well.
100%.
And we can relate to the vacation thing. I mean, when I was growing up, and you could probably tell some stories too, Elijah, a big vacation for me was going to the Wisconsin Dells. Like, that was like what my mom could afford to do. I mean, my mom never took me on a plane my whole life. So I had to get on and figure this all out on my own. My kids have already been to the Bahamas. They've been to Mexico multiple times. They've been to Hawaii. I mean, and we're going to do more trips. My son wants to go to Japan. Like, we're going to do all these things. And these were things that I never had. So every chance that I can do something for them, like it's awesome. And I know you're the same way too. That,
outside of buying
we didn't grow up with much. I mean, I don't know if you take your parents on trips. My mom passed now, so I don't really have that opportunity. But I mean, are you taking your parents too on these trips with you, or?
I mean, if they want to go. But I remember you're saying you went on trips when you were younger. But my mom just told me, like, I don't know, 2 months ago, that we lived off of $500 a month. $500 a month, and the position she put me in. You know, I always say, because I went to Korean Durham High School, and you know, just to be able to go there to that school, I honestly tell people that if I did not go to that school, I don't know where I would end up. A lot of my friends I grew up with, they wanted to start a dynasty, you know, going to this public school. It's called Como High School, and it's a good school, but I'm just like, you know, they say you can go right, you can go left. You know, everyone went right, I went left. And I chose, you know, a school that no one knew about. And that brings me to another thing. My 8th grade teacher, he said, had everyone stand up in class and say, where are you going to high school? And I said, I'm going to Korean Durham Hall. And he goes, ha, Michael, you're not going to Korean Durham Hall. Sit your ass down.
Just like that?
That's what he said to me.
Wow.
Said to me. And everyone's laughing. And I'm like, okay.
That just solidified it. You're like, all right.
Just fuel, gave me more fuel. Okay.
Now, was he trying to like push you, or was he just like a jerk?
He was being a jerk, for sure. Yeah. Definitely a jerk.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep. That's good though, man. That's what people, you know, people need that sometimes. You hear that and you're like, oh, okay. All right. Well, now that solidified it. You know, like we're going to 100% go out there and do that. Yeah, we get that in our industry all the time too. But like, well, you did good one year. You ain't going to do good next year. No, I'm going to do better. I'm going to do better the next year. And then I'm going to come back in 3 years. You're going to be in the same spot you're at right now talking shit. And I'm going to be at an elevated position. Like, we're just going to keep doing that then. Like,
it's crazy how the positive mindset, you know, if you just have a positive mindset, it takes you a long way. And manifesting things that if you believe in yourself and you say it to yourself every single day that, you know, I'm going to make $500,000 next year, you know, it's most likely going to happen, you know, because you have that attitude and that drive to get you to there.
And it's the power of trick in your mind too, because our minds are controlled by us and they only do what they're told to do, you know? So like you say, if you wake up every morning, you're like, hey man, I make $500,000 a year. Even if you don't make $500,000 a year, by the end of that year, you'd be pretty fucking close to $500,000 a year because your brain, you've been telling your brain, and now your brain only knows 500K. So your brain's like, all right, well, we need to do this, this, and this. You're going to have to do this, you know, and then you like start putting it together, and it's moving toward that direction. I believe in manifestation too. It's a powerful thing. 2 years ago, I was at an event in Salt Lake City. It was called Door to Door Con. And when the whole thing cleared out, it was day one, everything was empty, the stage was empty. And my big goal for this industry is to get on a stage. I want to speak. I want to show people that anyone can do this if they apply themselves, right? So I get on the stage and I make a video on Facebook and I say, hey, I'm manifesting this right now. Within 2 years, I'm going to be on a stage. I'm going to be on a stage somewhere talking. I'm going to make it happen. You know, a bunch of people, same thing, laughing at it. And it's like, all right, well, in April, I'm speaking at an event in Kentucky I was invited to after being snubbed three separate times. But now I'm like, I got invited to do it. And it's not a paid gig, but it put me on a stage, you know, and I started the podcast. We started getting real guests. People started paying attention to it. And it's like, all right, well, now we're just going to do it, dude. Like, it's just, there is no, not going to, it's going to happen. I want it to happen, so it happens. And that's really cool that you brought up manifestation, because that's like big.
We have to shout an invite out to him next year for the door-to-door con, because we go with Ty. We meet up with Tony and Ty every year.
Oh, yeah, you would
go out there, and it's all door-to-door. And they had this year, they had they call them the Golden Knockers. They had a guy in the real estate industry. I don't know what his sales were. I don't remember, but I mean, it was pretty high. I mean, you said you did 180K. I'm guessing how much money you made in your second year. So obviously you're going upwards. So I'm sure that there's some award that we'll get the numbers and figure it out and get it over to you. But that'd be cool to see you get up on stage and get an award, because they give awards out for door knocking, pest control, alarm systems, roofing, solar, windows. I mean,
there's no branding.
Door knocking.
Yeah, no branding at all. So everybody who does any type of door knocking at all goes to this event, and you're not allowed to promote your business. You're not allowed to pass out like cards or recruit people or anything like that. It's just strictly going to obtain knowledge and seeing some of the cool apps and other things that people are creating in your field that you may not know about, and then networking. Obviously, you meet a bunch of people, you shake hands, you do all that stuff. But I would highly recommend it, man. Door to Door Con is what it's called. But yeah, it's big.
Yeah, I think Ty told me about that, you know, speaking at one of them, and I'm just like, one, I love doing stuff like that because people see all the success online, but they don't know, you know, what actually, you know, how'd you get there? And also the failure. You know, there's been plenty of times I've been on listening appointments and didn't get them. But, you know, that just fuels me even more to go out there and get on the phone and call people and door knock, because like that's motivation for me. You know, I lost that. How do I do better? What did I do wrong? And just get back on that phone and make more deals happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. I know you're pressed for time because you got to get to your event. We just got flagged down that it's 1:40. I don't want to make you late. It sucks, man. Every time we get somebody on here, they're just good guys. You can just roll in and it can continue to go. And I wish it would continue to go, but I hope that I hope we can do this again. It'd be great to have you on.
Definitely.
Touch base with you again, man. It was really nice having you out here, and you taking the time out of your day, which I'm sure is extremely busy, to spend time with us. So that's like really cool. And it was a pleasure meeting you, man. Like I've been a fan. So obviously we're both Notre Dame guys.
I was gonna say my biggest fan is over here.
Oh, dude,
he probably has more apparel than I do.
Bro.
So quick funny story. The only number 3 jersey I have Joe Montana's signature on it, so I didn't know if I could bring that, but I didn't have time to go get one. But I do want to get one for you, and we want to get a Roof Trollz one and have you sign it.
Well, I just wanted to do the football, like to the Roof Trollz, but we didn't have time to stop anywhere and do that. It would have been cool.
Well, that means we just got to do it again.
We got to do it again.
100%, man.
Sounds good.
100%.
Yeah. And I got season tickets. We got season tickets. You know, I'm sure they call you back and have you sit 50-yard line, though, but we could always be
he used to be watching the game with Shane Gillis. He ain't be sitting with us.
Oh, yeah. Or sit next to Joe Montana, and then he'll, like, wave to us and say, look who I'm with.
Joe ain't going to any of those games.
And he comes back now.
Does he?
He's come back the last 2 years. He never used to come back. Cali boy is coming back now.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. Mike, thanks again, man. And, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Sounds good.